Hapana is proud to be the exclusive sponsor of Shorts with Liz Clark.
Crunch is scaling and not quietly. And from a sweeping national redesign to the introduction of reformer Pilates at HVLP scale, this brand is redefining what value really means in fitness. Today on Shorts with Liz Clark, we're joined by the president of Crunch Fitness, Chequan Lewis, and its head of people and culture, Pamela Brown, to unpack really Crunch's rapid expansion to the bold Crunch 3.0 rollout and how they're bridging the gap between $10 gyms and boutique studios without losing their culture, leadership, or executional excellence. If you want to understand where high value, low price fitness is headed next, this conversation is it. So welcome, Chequan and Pamela.
Thank you so much. It's a pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Excited to see you both. Okay, so we're going to get right in here. So first, the big picture, Crunch is expanding aggressively right now. Tell us a little bit about what's happening in the market that makes this moment for acceleration, and how you're ensuring that the growth is strategic and not just fast.
Yeah, no, it's a great question. First of all, Liz, thanks for having us. Thanks for doing this, and thanks for the role that HFA plays in our industry. It's important. And it's a pleasure to be with you today. But
appreciate that.
Yeah, certainly. I'll kick it off, and Pam, you add anything at any point. I love the question because it's a fun way to think about what it is we're doing here. Like, we're in the business of people giving experiences to other people. And I think we're in a moment in this marketplace where, look around us, it's going pretty crazy in the world right now. And fitness is no longer this sort of discretionary spending concept. It's a fundamental, critical part of people's lives. And so what happens in growing in a moment like this is, who are the players that are best suited to capitalize on that? Who are the players that are best suited to move to the moment? And I think what you see happening with Crunch, which you alluded to in your kickoff, is we sit in that sweet spot. And so I would tell you there are a couple of things going on for us. The first one is we're getting the franchisee experience right. One of our superpowers is fantastic franchise partners all across this country, actually candidly in other parts of the globe now as we continue to scale. And in partnership with them, we're able to deliver experiences that are really legendary, check-in by check-in, gym by gym, region by region, state by state, and now country by country. At the center of all this is getting it right for our team members. So when we honor the team member experience, I know Pam has thoughts on this as well, when we deeply honor what it means to hold in high esteem the folks that are responsible for gatekeeping the member experience, we get it right. And then that leads to that last part of the legendary formula for us, which is really treating members like they're at the top of the mountain, right? And so by doing the right thing by our franchisees, by honoring our teams on the front line and elevating the member experience, we are uniquely seated right now to step into the moment that you're seeing in the marketplace, and really be a place where folks can come and be the best version of themselves, which is what we see customers looking for all over the place.
And I would add to that as well that team members having the best experience that they can have lends itself to our members having that fantastic experience. And we're focused on building the pipeline of team members that are ready to greet our guests.
Yeah, Pam, I would just say, I think some of the most successful brands out there, as is Crunch, of course, are really doing that, really not leaving the team behind and almost putting the team first. And that's been a really important part of your culture that I can greatly respect. So as part of the Crunch 3.0, as it is redesigning, it really is like more than a facelift. I think it's a full experience upgrade. What are maybe some of the biggest strategic decisions behind expanding strength floors, enhancing HIIT zones, investing in relax and recover amenities like infrared saunas, and just all of that going on there?
Yeah, I think it starts with honoring the member experience at the center. We're obviously a franchise business. We're obviously a fitness business, but we are that people serving people business, right? And the way we earn those check-ins, the ones that I'm calling the moment of truth, is by listening to what folks need. So as you saw us take a look at 3.0 and say, hey, how do we really honor a legacy of innovation that we've had, but take it to the next level? We looked around and we saw people are taking strength way more seriously. People are taking longevity way more seriously. And so we need to allocate real estate, allocate equipment, allocate intention inside of our boxes against that. That's why you see the expanded HIIT zones. That's why you see more functional turf. That's why you see elevated equipment and hot studios and all these sorts of things. And you hit on it too, Liz, the R&R piece, right? Go spend some time in our new saunas. Go spend some time in our new massage chairs. We've got some other exciting things coming. It's all about meeting folks where they are and delivering them the value that we've heard that they need. One thing I'll just tell you, and I'll kick it to Pam for other thoughts. unless it's a Thursday morning or Sunday morning, every day begins in a crunch somewhere in America for me. And so I'm living that member experience. I'm talking to members. Our team is out doing the same thing. And as I mentioned, we've got an army of franchisees doing that as well. So we're very, very close to what the member needs. And we delivered against that in the 3.0 proposition.
Anything to follow up, Pam?
Yeah, absolutely. I think our design team does a great job of creating that opportunity. And the member experience often comes down to the people. So our focus has been on preparing the staff to activate those spaces. I personally love going into them, and the team is fully trained and onboarded so that when our members get to go into that experience, they have a team member there to help walk them through what to expect.
Yep, changes the whole experience. So how does this really elevate the HVLP category without breaking the model?
I mean, it's a good question. And I would say this, like, it's obviously important to maintain the integrity of the price point, right? But
Yep.
one thing I'm excited about is rejecting the premise, because I think for a long time, folks said, hey, you can be high value or low price. And obviously the HVLP concept stands for the integration of those things. But I
Yep.
think what we're finding is as we continue to plus up and deliver ultra amenities inside of our box, we can maintain competitive price points because folks will choose the memberships from us that we think are the most beneficial for them and for us. But more importantly, we continue to earn the right month after month from so many members that our clubs have a volume that actually allows us to make the economics actually work. So we wouldn't go do things that didn't make it pencil, but we don't believe that you have to deliver something other than an ultra amenity rich experience just because you're in the HVP category. Maybe the HVP category can give people more bang for their buck and earn the right to have more check-ins and more moments of truth in that way.
And I would also add that I think that the relax and recovery spaces have created a third space for our members. So you have work, you have home, and now you have this third space that have these amazing massage beds and infrared saunas, and that's a big part of it as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
I love that you said that, Chequan. Earn the right. I love that. I love that phrase. So something you alluded to a little earlier, right, is that we are seeing strength training really dominating participation trends like across the board. So how is Crunch maybe designing your clubs to reflect sort of this long-term shift toward performance-driven members and not just cardio first users that, was sort of historically, I think, where many facilities were before?
Yeah, I think it's a couple of things, Liz. One is just the allocation of physical space, right? So I mentioned, if I love you walk into a 3.0 now, one of the first things you're going to see is that run of turf. Then there's
Yeah.
going to be another run of turf over in the hit zone. We've allocated more space to that intentionally because people can do more functional strength training in that. So that's just a choice that we made. We make a choice about a full run of dumbbells and making sure that strength goes up really high for people and meet them whether they're at the beginning of their strength journey or further along in their strength journey. But there's also a choice around like the intentional classes and programming, right? So if you look at our group fitness classes, probably something like half of our group fitness classes now have a strength component to them. So in addition to just what does it mean to go out and work out on your own, when people come together and engage in that communal space, and by the way, we're the originators of innovation in group fitness in the HVLP space, we're finding folks saying, man, I want to do strength. I want to do strong hit. I want to do barbell 45. And so it's a space choice, it's a resource allocation choice, and then also how do we use the time and the programming in a way to honor that as well. So that's how we're seeing that and we're meeting the moment in that way.
And I would also add that the role of our trainers is so imperative. So
Absolutely.
we have built these career paths. It's a great place for them to work where they get developed. And our trainers help the members safely progress. And I am not just in the people and culture team here at Crunch, I'm also a client, and they do a really beautiful job.
Yeah, it's a critical point, Liz, because Pam and I are both PT clients, right? We both have trainers, and we've got our franchise clubs and we've got our signature clubs that we directly own and operate in New York and San Francisco and LA and in South Beach. And the point that you're making, Pam, is so great about our personal trainers, like to have like a personal concierge, if you will, to assist you along your strength journey. Watch the gains that you make when someone who knows the science actually goes on that journey with you. And having great crunch trainers from coast to coast is a really big part of that.
Well, and it retains your clients, right? When
100%.
they've got that relationship. So it's a no-brainer. It's a win-win-win, right?
That's
Uh,
exactly right.
yeah. So listen, something that's really bold, I think that y'all are doing is that you're introducing reformer Pilates at scale, particularly with the 40,000 square foot club in McKinney, Texas. Um, why do you think right now is the time to be doing this and bringing Pilates into the HVLP environment?
I think we're always looking to figure out what moment are we in. And I think when you look at, I forget the stat, there's something like 70% year over year growth in Pilates classes. I mean, when I talk about listening to the consumer and being really close to what they need and they want, this is clearly a moment to step into that space and see,
Yep.
can we do it? But what's important for us, Pam, right, is we want to do it the crunch way. There's so many takes on Pilates out there. And so what we said is like, if this is a moment where we're being invited into not just a trend, but in meeting a consumer need state, how do we do it in a way that deeply honors crunch, deeply honors what folks are looking for, and take that forward? So we're not hopping on a trend. We're planting our flag in our own way, and you'll see us do it like only crunch can do it, like we do those other things.
And it's a great opportunity as well for our instructors to have added certification pathways so that they can make Pilates available to our Crunch team members and members.
So let me just follow up a little bit though on so like what does it take really operationally to be able to deliver this boutique level of Pilates experience inside the high volume model? How do you do it?
Why don't you speak to that, Pam? I know you got a point of view there.
Yes, absolutely. I think that a lot of it is about learning and development, developing the team. Certainly, our design team has done a beautiful job, and it's the people that are going to take that home. And that's where those certification pathways come into play. And also our Crunch class formats that our members love so much.
Did you miss anything there, Chequan?
No, I mean, like so if you ask me to say it from my operator point of view, it's like a few things, right? Can you get the programming right? And so that's when I talk about doing it the crunch way. Like there's so many takes in Pilates. I'm not going to go all into what it's going to look like for us here, but I'm excited for people to see it and feel it. And you'll know it's a crunch Pilates class when you take it.
Yeah.
So the program is the first piece. Coaching is the second thing that Pam talks about. Making sure that folks are fit for purpose and delivering the ability to take folks on that journey is the second critical piece. You got to get the scheduling and the access right. Like there's just a operators component of doing that. Like we see in some of our hot classes now, we expect this to be something that's really in demand. So the way that we use technology, the way that we treat that member experience, both of onboarding, ingress, egress, is going to be really critical. And then the space has to be right. Pam kicked off talking about that, right? It's going to be beautiful. You've probably seen some of the iterations so far. If you can get those four things right, you got a chance to win in that space. And then we're excited to pay that off and see how it looks and feels here soon.
And if I can add one more thing, I would also say, as somebody that hadn't been to a gym in a while, when I joined Crunch and got myself to the gym, community. The community I will show up every day for. And that includes our members, the team members, instructors alike.
Yeah, we talk so much about how community is so integral to what we do and how it was one of the driving forces even after COVID to get people back in and it's one of it makes it sticky. It keeps people coming back just like you are, Pam. So um so CR Fitness Holdings is acquiring and converting a lot of former 24-hour fitnesses into NYSC locations in the new Crunch model. Tell us a little bit about the playbook for turning some of these legacy big box gyms into these modern, higher value Crunch experiences that you're providing.
Yeah, it kind of connects with the first question, Liz, that you asked about what's happening in this moment in the market. And I was talking about, hey, we got to be uniquely suited and uniquely situated to deliver on that. That's kind of what you're seeing here. And so when you see this happen for us, I have a couple things in mind, and my franchise partners would say the same thing. It's got to fit our growth footprint, right? So when you look at this, it's not just how do I acquire another gym? It's like, where does it fit strategically with what I'm doing? How do I make sure that it makes sense geographically? Sometimes it'll be a way that you'd see a franchisee break into a market. Sometimes it'd be a nice fill-in for a market that's already established. Sometimes it's just accretive from a member growth standpoint. So it's first just like, how does it sort of fit the strategic bill? Second thing you're looking at though is like, it's got to be a pretty good box, right? So like for us to do the thing that we do well, I have size things that we have in mind. We know that if it's going to be a crunch and be a crunch conversion, maybe not on day one, does it have to turn over and be exactly like crunch, but there's a timeline where we've got to accelerate to it paying off
Yep.
and looking like that 3.0 that we're talking about. So we work with our franchisees to identify these opportunities, get them on board, come up with a clear scope, conversion plan, timeline. But the first and most important thing is even before all the equipment changes, even before these things happen, when crunch goes up on the door, it's got to feel like crunch in the culture. And Pam and our franchisees who work in the people groups do a lot of work to make sure that if you're coming from a 24, you're coming from some other brand, and you're going to be under the crunch banner, it's got to look, feel, behave, breathe like a crunch. And that's how the team executes. Pam, why don't you talk a little bit about what we do to get these teams ready to be a part of our brand?
Absolutely. So leadership development training is a huge part of it. Today, I got the opportunity to work with personal training managers, general managers, operations managers that are right there in the gyms. And they are learning all about collaboration and how to greet members so that it feels like that third space and builds that community. And also so that we can work wonderfully well together and members can really feel that.
And we,
So you just talked to, oh, go ahead, Chequan. Sorry.
yeah, and I was just going to say, because you bring up CR, it's a great example. Obviously, one of my best franchise groups, right? What Pam said, what I said, what the CR story tells us is when we find these opportunities, when we get it right, when we work together, when we figure out how to get the people piece right, when we're willing to invest in what it takes to make it look like a crunch, when we invest in what it takes to make it operate like a crunch, um, they're pretty powerful opportunities for our brand to grow pretty quickly in that scale. So you don't have to be greedy or non-strategic with it, but when they present themselves, we've got a pretty aggressive and pretty creative playbook that makes sense for everybody involved.
And I would also say that as I sat around the room in the training today, we have people that have been with us for 10 years, 15 years, 20 years, 25 years, over 25 years. And they love the crunch culture so much. And I think that you feel that in our gyms.
So you talked a little bit about that a second ago, Chequan, on the conversion sort of opportunities, right? Like opportunities present themselves to you. It has to be the right size, has to be the right feel. Is there anything more that you look for for some of these opportunities?
Yeah, so you want to understand where is it geographically. You want to understand where does it sit vis-a-vis my other existing clubs. You want to understand what does the member count look like today. There's a really important question of what's it going to take to
Yeah.
invest into it to make it come up to standard. So you kind of triangulate between these decision points. But when it hits those marks, you can feel really confident. But I think the big question is always, can it be a part of what we're trying to do? Can it be another arrow in the quiver for the brand, for our partners to further the crunch mission? We have a vision for a world with more crunch. And so we begin with that proposition in mind and make sure that it fits that way strategically. So you're looking at a few checkpoints. And then when you've got good experienced operators who have done it before, like a CR, like many of our other partners, you got a reason to believe in it.
So when you look at sort of the overall space, and we have our global report that we issue every year that kind of talks about what are the sectors that are growing the hottest, the fastest, and we are seeing right that there is really a growing gap between sort of the $10 and $15 HV/LP gym model and like the $200 boutique studio. And how is Crunch being intentional about positioning itself in that middle space and really offering these premium amenities, but an accessible price point?
Yeah, Pam, you want to start on that one? I know you got a point of view there too.
Sure, absolutely. The people and culture lens is that we want our teams to deliver the hospitality and the performance, and also have it be affordable for everyone. And so members expect that welcoming workout and environment, and we train our teams to do both consistently. I would also say that our very strong operators know that the member experience doesn't exceed the team member experience. So we're also extending that hospitality to our own teams.
Yeah, and I think the way that shows up from a marketing positioning standpoint, Liz, is I hate to be the rejected premise guy, but like I don't see it as a
Do
binary.
you do you hate to be the reject the premise guy? I don't know.
Maybe you got me there. Uh, but seriously, I think a lot of times when we look at either decision sets or category sets. We say, is it this or that? Um, Kind of the story of my career has always been, well, maybe it's both. Maybe it's both and, right? And so when I think about this, I'm like, do I have the right to believe that we can be the most consequential player in HVLP big box? Absolutely. Do I have the right to believe that I can provide people boutique experiences inside of my big box? Absolutely. Do I have the right to believe that I can do all three of those things and still have it be at a price point that I could have afforded when I was growing up? Absolutely. That feels like mission work to us in the way that we earn the right to do it box after box after box at the rate that we've grown in 2024 and 2025, and then you'll see in 2026 is what Pam is saying. The people piece is the unlock to do that. But the vision is to meet people in more moments that matter in their lives and do it in a way that's faithful to like the Crunch brand and the Crunch mission.
Yeah, the people piece. And I think that's part of sort of my next question, right? Is the rapid expansion that y'all are going through does have the possibility of diluting the culture if you're not careful. And we've seen that with other, brands that are out there. So how are you continuing to maintain sort of this leadership quality, the talent standards, and the Crunch brand energy as you scale into new markets and convert existing clubs?
Yeah. Pam, why don't you start on that one too? I love your take here.
Absolutely. So I think that there is a lot of intentionality about how we understand that club leaders are the culture carriers. So we have conventions, we bring our operators together, and the people leaders are coming together to talk about how we keep that culture going. And every location needs leaders who reinforce our brand values daily. And so that all comes through training, mentoring, communication, and Chequan is a great leader, and our executive leadership team and all of the leaders and operators walk that culture throughout the whole system.
Yeah, and if I could, the way we sort of systematize that, Liz, I love
Yeah.
Pam's point because it starts at, I was in restaurants before I was in fitness, right? And one of the things I learned, if it's not real in the restaurants, it's not real. The same thing is true. If it's not real in the club, it's not real. So Pam's
Yeah.
point about the way that you make this work is across the club leadership. The best way to systematize that so you can copy and paste it at scale, a big part of it on the franchise side of our business is how we pick our partners. So the franchise business is the the lion's share of our clubs today, right? That's no secret. And the fundamental building block of the franchise system is the 3C partner. That's the partner that I say has the right level of capability, the right level of capital, and then the right level of commitment to what it means to run our business, right? Now, there are a lot of double clicks inside of that we've systematized that mean the Crunch thing. But what I've learned is if we can get the right 3C partner, that's the best shot that we have at scaling our culture down to the club level, like Pam is talking about. And so it's picking the right partners. It's when you've got the right partners in your business, how do you engage with them, like in our new ops engagement model, to deliver against these results and the output that she's talking about, and do it time after time after time after time after again. But greatness is actually a boring thing. It just requires a repeatable model of excellence, and you do it by picking the right partners who make it right at the club level.
I love that. Okay, repeat the 3 C's for me again.
Capability,
Yep.
capital, commitment.
It's brilliant. So not that you have a crystal ball, but let's just say you did. What do you think would define maybe the next evolution of the HVLP category? And then let's say that you can predict that. How is Crunch preparing to lead in that evolution rather than react to it?
Yeah. Well, and sometimes the past is prologue. And so what I would say is I first point to our heritage of innovation and getting to things first and being close to our customers to say, no matter what I tell you now, I think you can bet on brand Crunch to be where the moment is when it moves. That's what you see in Crunch 3.0. That's what you'll see with Crunch Infinity as we iterate and iterate and iterate. If you ask me sort of a category question and where I see HVLP going, I think it really is about meeting people in more moments that matter in their lives, right? So a while ago, it was all right. We want to make sure we really dial up strength. Then it became, how do we make sure that we bring recovery and relaxation and restoration in the part of the circle? Now we're seeing people lean in, especially the generation that we heavily index on. We call them the young, strong, and social. We're seeing them buy into this idea of longevity. And now that's starting to trickle up to people that are my age and even older than me, right? And so what you'll see us do is figure out how do we pay off that need state in a way that's authentic to crunch and that doesn't corrupt the HVLP positioning, right? So we'll continue to lean in on relax and recover. You may see us do things like contrast therapy, for example, right? And still do that in a way that's a price point that's accessible. You may see us think about other ways to walk with people in their wellness journey, not just their fitness journey. The brands that will take those next steps and lead from the front will see their members holistically and meet them in moments that matter in an economically feasible way. Pam, what would you add to that?
I would add that our Crunch's culture and energy are really fantastic, and we have a no judgments culture as well. And it's true. You walk into the gym, and no matter what you look like, when I first started, I was 50 pounds heavier, and working out with my trainer has been able to transform my own health. So that's the culture and energy from our clubs. And then the people strategy will also be a leader in developing this space.
Can I say one more thing too, Liz?
Of course.
This is the recovering COO in me. I was a COO in my last job before I came over here. And I was talking. I tell my son this all the time. He's a budding basketball player. Like I was saying a second ago about how boring greatness actually is. No matter what we say from an innovation standpoint, no matter how we pontificate here and theorize about what's next, the brand that is able to be the most fundamentally urgent about their member experience is going to be who sets the pace for the next decade. And so the mantra that we have at Crunch is we treat every check-in like a moment of truth. That fundamental transaction in the business where someone comes to you because they chose to give you their dues tap that month instead of someone else. How do you meet them in that moment? The cleanest club, the friendliest club, the most innovative programming, the best personal trainers, the best classes, moment after moment after moment after moment being honored like that moment of truth that it is how you win. That's in our DNA. We're building on that. We're scaling with that. That's where my confidence in our position comes from. And that's what members in this space expect and candidly demand when they give us our dollars in fitness.
Yeah, I think you're just hit on it, right? Every moment matters, every touch point matters, which means every person matters. And it's so evident by how you've doubled down on all of it. So now we're going to shift a little bit, if you're okay with it. We're going to do some rapid fire questions. You guys don't know what these are.
Pow. Let's go.
I think we've got 5, unless any of these are total, crash and burns, then we'll cut that out. But okay, I'm going to start with, if the crunch culture was a song, what would that song be?
There's a song that I like by Big Sean called Go Legend. And it's all about this idea of being like really legendary and legendary being a thing that you do each day. So Go Legend would be that song for me.
So what popped right into my head, and I'm not sure if it's the same song, is This Is How Legends Are Made. I don't know if that's the name of the song, but it's exactly what popped into my head.
God, you two should work together.
I know. I'm gonna ask you, send me your resume later, Pam. We may have a place for you.
Excellent.
Well, I selfishly asked that because we have our HFA show coming up and I need my walkout song. I haven't decided yet. So I might look into both of those. So thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Next is, what is your favorite unhealthy food?
Go ahead, Pam.
Nachos.
Pizza Hut stuffed crust.
Oh,
nice.
you had to say Pizza Hut, of course, right?
Gotta keep it real. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Did you have a senior superlative, like anything in the yearbook? And if so, what was it?
I had a few. The one, okay, I had most likely to be famous, most ambitious, and most likely to be president. It's kind of variations on a theme, I guess. Those were mine.
I love it. All right. Well, we got to get your hat in the ring on this president thing. So
I like this president gig I have now, though. So I think we're good.
Oh, the Crunch president?
Yeah, I like this. I like this one.
Yeah, he's pretty good.
Pam.
What about you, Pam?
So I can't recall that I had one, but if I did, it would be most likely to be a culture builder.
There you go. and you both are living. So, I mean, there's something to be said about it. I'll tell you, mine was friendliest person. And it turns out that I need to be kind of friendly in my job too. So,
You know,
there's some truth.
Liz, you're one of the first people I met in the industry. So like I started at Crunch in February of 2024. And then I came to the one where you were unveiling the name HFA, and I got
Yep.
introduced to you. And it was a very settling experience because you were so friendly and so welcoming to me, even though I did not even know where the bathroom was in fitness. So I can attest to you being very friendly. Thank you for that.
Thank you. I know. I remember that meeting. And it was a great meeting. Okay, couple more here. So, what kind of workout do you think really is the best bang for your buck?
Ooh, you go first, Pam.
I really love working out with my personal trainer. We moved from counting my weight loss to counting my strength. So I like the deadlifts and leveling up that workout.
For me, my trainer and I have been programming high intensity interval training like on my Tuesdays, and I've been getting really good results from that.
I love that. Um, I know, and I love just seeing women doing deadlifts. I don't know, there's something pretty cool about that. So,
Yeah,
yeah.
absolutely.
Okay, last one, and it kind of sort of weaves in the overall theme of this conversation today. Is that what is the number one trait that you are looking for in a new club manager?
For me, I'll go first, Pam. So we're popcorning back and forth. Um, I have a vision that our brand be fundamentally others centered, meaning we're a place where we pour into people and we leave each day fully poured out because we've given to others all that we have. I want that for our club leaders as well, because that's the best way to know that our MSRs will do it and that our trainers will do it. So others centered leaders are at least one of the top few things I'm looking for.
I think that it's that hospitality, the energy. I love that if I've been on a business trip, when I go back to the gym where I usually work out, they will ask me how it's going, how I've kept to my fitness standard. And then when I visit Texas, I get to see people that maybe I haven't met before, but they're also following my journey. So it's that connection point. Maybe that should be the fourth C.
That's going to be for Crunch 4.0, I think,
It
because we
sounds
gotta
good.
we gotta get through 3.0. But I love that. So thank you both so much for your time today. This was a lot of fun. It's a tremendous brand. It's a great group of people and a great culture you've built, and a pretty successful business as well. So thank you for joining me today, and look forward to seeing you soon.
Thanks for having us.
Thank you so much for having us.
Hapana is proud to be the exclusive sponsor of Shorts with Liz Clark.